Hi everybody, it's Margaret Manning here with 60 and Me. Thanks so much for being here with me. I hope that all is well in your world, that you've got some sun shining, or like me, it's raining today, but it's all good. Every day is precious. So I hope that you're got something fun planned for today. You're going to do something for yourself. That would be wonderful. But anyway, I'm drinking my cup of tea this morning. I've got my beautiful mug and I'm drinking, it's a cranberry and pomegranate. Nice berry color, it's beautiful. But I hope that you've got a cup of tea or coffee and just sit back and relax. I've got a really fun topic for you today. One of our bloggers, Mahani Zubedi, Mahani, sorry for mispronouncing your name, but she's a great writer and she's got a fascinating conversation about the brain and how storytelling interacts with the brain. But I wanted to remind you that our sponsor for today's show is International Living. International Living is a company I've known for some years now. They do a really good job of looking at property or places, I should say, around the world where you might want to retire. Countries or cities that would be perfect. If you're thinking of shifting your lifestyle in retirement, maybe moving abroad or to another city, and they do a very comprehensive job of putting together reports. They publish them on their website, internationalliving.com/60andme. And the report they've got at the moment is, I believe it's one on Europe, the places in Europe that you can retire, which is kind of an unusual topic. Most people don't think Europe is affordable, but they do this kind of research. So thank you to International Living, and please check out their website, internationalliving.com/60andme, and sign up free of charge for the report. No charge or obligation at all. So thanks again for being here. The story about this storytelling completely captivated me because, like a lot of you, I'm a reader. I love to read, and I love to get into the story, and I love listening to stories. Since I've been kind of busy with the technology and computers all day, I actually do listen on audio to a lot of books in the evening. And I found that the experience of listening to a book is completely different. Now, there are sometimes, I must admit, that I love a paper book. I love that hardcover, that feeling of turning pages. But a lot of the time, I really enjoy the auditory storytelling. Now, sometimes people ask me my books behind me, but I've got probably 5 or 6 books by Joseph Campbell, because I'm fascinated by mythology, stories that he would tell, and I could honestly sit there and listen to him for hours. And Mahani tells us why. Now, this is because the brain operates in a different way when someone is talking to you and telling you a story than when you're reading or just watching on a screen, like in a PowerPoint presentation, something that's more factual. And so, as she says in this article, which is called How Sharing Stories Boosts the Brain, especially after 60. But if you're sitting in a presentation and they're putting facts up on the screen, your brain just goes blah, 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 blah. And they just take the information and convert it into words. And then those words have meaning that you then, do things with. You can make a decision or get some information that you write down, but it doesn't ignite your brain. It doesn't energize your brain like a story does. So it's a different part of the brain, a different decoding part of your brain. But when you are in a storytelling mode, there's something in your brain, this language processing part of your brain, that starts turning it into something else, into something deeper. And she talks about some fascinating research. I'd never heard of this myself, but it was research where they've shown that when two people are talking in a way that's like meaningful and there's rich conversation, adjectives, adverbs, and personality, that the brain of the person telling the story connects with the person who is listening. And I don't even know how this works, but our brain is stimulated by stories in a different way. We're stimulated by experience. And so I actually believe this because I know, like when I'm listening to Joseph Campbell and he's talking about a mythology of a certain country or different theme, I just get completely entranced. Anyway, the research though is quite interesting. The story basically, according to Mahani, can light up your brain quite physically. And I'm looking at the researcher is Yuri Hassan, who's a neuroscientist at Princeton. And he has done this research that shows how your brain lights up in synchronicity. The more that the listener understood the story and related to the story, you can actually see when they do these little tests with your brain, they can actually show the light coming in both brains, the storyteller and the person who's listening. Isn't that incredible? I'm looking at, there's any name of the research. It's in the article that Mahani wrote, so you can check it out. She actually has a website. It's called Story Sisters, I think, or something like that, but it's in the article. And she talks a lot about the power of storytelling. So the activity in the brain of the storyteller is mimicked or is resonated in the brain of the listener. Isn't that incredible? So why is that important? Well, you can say that it's important because stories, from historically, I mean, we're still in a way cave people at heart. We've evolved, of course, but we still have that need to, sit by the campfire and transmit the stories that bond your community together. They bond your family, they bond your tribe. And so it's really important that storytelling does serve that purpose. It gives you a connection, a connectivity to a bigger group outside yourself. We form connections. It's as simple as that. That connection of the brain gives you connections in your practical, physical world as well. And it makes perfect sense to me when you stop to think about it, that the power of community and tribal engagement, having shared values, common, understanding of your world was so important. You had to sort of agree on things, not in a verbal way necessarily, but almost unconsciously. So that's what happens. It creates bonding, understanding, and it creates intimacy. And that's what keeps tribes and families and communities together. It's that sense that you share something that's special, that goes deeper than the words. There's words, that just, there's feelings and experiences that have no words. What you need is that connection to take you there. So these stories elicit brain chemicals that give you the sense of connection and intimacy. And she actually put a quote here. I wanted to read this. It's Lisa Rankin in Psychology Today. So it really just kind of summarizes what I'm trying to say here. It says, every time you tell a story and someone listens who cares about you, bears witness to it, you turn off the body's stress responses, like you flip off the toxic stress hormones like cortisol, and you flip on relaxation responses that release healing hormones like oxytocin, dopamine, and endorphins. This is from a medical professional. That's what happens when you tell a story and someone else who cares bears witness to it. Listens to it. Listening to stories relaxes the nervous system. Isn't that amazing? And then she says there's more to this as well. Mahani says even on top of all of those benefits, there's a longevity piece that actually storytelling, connecting with people through stories actually has an impact on your well-being, on your health. And that we actually help to create meaning in the present, which gives us that kind of concept of longevity and continuity and good health. Isn't that amazing? And she listed a few other things like confidence and well-being, but I think that's all part of the feeling that comes from being relaxed and purposeful and comfortable with what you're doing in your life. Just a fascinating article. I'd encourage you to read it. Mahani Zubedi, she's one of our bloggers and has written several articles on this topic, so please feel free to go check it out. How often do you share stories? How often do you sit down and tell a story? I don't think we do it enough. I think that's part of our social media world. We keep everything down to 140 characters and we abbreviate on Facebook. Everything's rushed. But if you ever get the chance to go and sit down to a poetry jam or telling even theater productions, those are stories that really feed that experiential part of your brain. So do you tell stories? Do you like to tell stories? I've actually started telling stories to my grandson, Max. It's so fun because he just gets so into it. So it's like, I say, okay, so this is the story of Pepper the unicorn and his best friend, Max. And one day, and he sits there and he goes, again, Baba, again. Because children know it's just kind of a cool thing. Anyway, so how often do you share stories? Who do you share your stories with? Do you like to hear stories? I think this is a great conversation. I hope you agree. Have a wonderful day, everybody. Leave your storytelling stories below. We'll join the conversation. But thank you so much again for being here. Don't forget to check out our website. We've got articles all the time, new ones there. The YouTube channel, please subscribe here, and you'll be, and there's a little bell somewhere that you can press that tells you when a new video is published. So please support us on that. And of course, if you've got the extra $3 a month, you could join our Patreon community. I'm so happy with this group. It's so much fun. 60andMe is wonderful. I love doing these videos and articles, but it's such a big group. You really can't have a little private conversation, and some people don't like Facebook as a way into chatting, but our Patreon group is definitely a place to go and join. I do exclusive videos, things that are just for Patreon, and talk about our other channels. And it's just a great place if you have the ability, and we of course then appreciate the support as well. It's wonderful. So that's Patreon, patreon.com/60andme, all words. So thanks again for being here, everybody. Have a wonderful day, and we'll talk again soon. Bye-bye for now.